There's this incredible silent performance happening inside your body, like right now. It's this perfectly choreographed ballet that literally keeps you alive and growing. We're going to call it the secret dance of life, a process called mitosis, and we're about to pull back the curtain. I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a huge question, right? Every single day, your body is churning out trillions of new cells, and every one of them has to be a perfect clone of the original. So how in the world does it pull off that kind of precision? Well, the secret is this never-ending show, a kind of cellular ballet. And this isn't some one-off performance. It's happening constantly. It's what helps you heal from a paper cut, and it's how we grow from a single cell into, well, us. So at its heart, mitosis is just one cell dividing into two genetically identical daughter cells. But, just calling it a process feels a little dry. Thinking of it as a dance really helps you appreciate the absolute elegance and precision that's required for every single step. Okay, so you can't have a big show without your cast and crew. So before the main event kicks off, let's get to know the key players in our little cellular ballet. First up, we've got the absolute star of the show, the chromosome. This is our DNA, all of our genetic material bundled up super tight. It's basically the script, the entire blueprint for the cell. And its whole job is to make sure that blueprint gets passed on perfectly. Now, before the dance really gets going, each chromosome makes a copy of itself. What you end up with are two identical halves, and we call these chromatids. They're connected in the middle, kind of like identical twin dancers holding hands, just waiting for their cue to split off and do their own thing. And who's running this whole complex show? That would be the centrosome. This is our choreographer, our stage manager. It builds and organizes this whole network of protein ropes, called microtubules, that are going to be the things that actually pull our chromosome dancers into place and move them across the stage. So there you have it. We've got our stars, the chromosomes, our twin dancers, the chromatids, and our choreographer, the centrosome. The stage is set, everyone's in position, it's showtime. All right, on to the main event. And this is not some chaotic mosh pit. No, this is a performance with very specific, very precise steps, all executed in perfect order. Our ballet is broken down into 4 main acts. It starts with Prophase, then moves into Metaphase. After that comes the big dramatic climax in Anaphase, and then everything wraps up in Telophase. So let's watch how each act unfolds. Act 1, Prophase. This is all about getting ready. The genetic material, which is usually just loosely floating around as chromatin, starts to condense and coil up super tight into those classic X-shaped chromosomes we all know. At the same time, our stage crew, the centrosomes, start building out the spindle fibers, those ropes that are going to manage the dancers. Next up is metaphase, and this part is just a moment of perfect, beautiful order. The spindle fibers grab onto the chromosomes and carefully guide every single one of them to line up, single file, right down the exact middle of the cell. It's an imaginary line, but we call it the metaphase plate. But hang on a second, just think about the precision here. It is incredible. Everything has to be perfectly aligned. So how does the cell make absolutely sure there are no mistakes before it moves on to the most important part? The answer is so cool. The cell has its own built-in quality control. It literally hits pause on the whole show and does a check to make sure every last chromosome is lined up and properly attached to a spindle fiber. If even one is out of place, it stops everything until it's fixed. It's a genius biological failsafe. Okay, so once that check is passed, we hit anaphase, the big dramatic moment. The spindle fibers start to shorten, and with this powerful tug, they snap the twin chromatids apart. Each chromatid, which is now its own full chromosome, gets yanked to an opposite side of the cell. This is it. This is the moment of separation. So our dancers have hit their final marks. Now it's time to bring this performance to a close and get ready for the final curtain call. And in our final act, telophase, the whole cell starts to stretch out, getting longer. 2 new nuclei start to form, one around each complete set of chromosomes on opposite ends, and the chromosomes themselves, their job is done. They start to relax and uncoil, basically taking their final bow. And then, for the very last step, cytokinesis, A ring of protein, called an actin ring, tightens around the middle of the cell like a drawstring bag, pinching and pinching until, pop, it splits the cell right in two. And just like that, you have two brand new, totally separate, and genetically identical daughter cells. The performance is over. But this is a pretty high-stakes show. What happens if one of our dancers misses their cue? What if there's a single misstep in this incredibly complex ballet? The consequences can be serious. So, if a mistake happens, and it usually happens during that super important metaphase lineup, the split can be totally uneven. So instead of two perfect cells, you might get one cell that has an extra chromosome and another that's missing one. And yeah, it can be an error of just one. A single chromosome ends up on the wrong side of the stage. It seems like such a tiny mistake in this massive, complicated process, but the fallout from that one little error can be huge. So what happens is, the cell that's short a chromosome, it usually just can't function, and it dies off. But the cell with the extra chromosome, that one can often survive. And here's the problem. If that extra chromosome happens to carry genes that tell a cell to grow and divide, well, this error can become one piece in a very complicated puzzle that might eventually lead to something like cancer. It's not the only cause, for sure, but it's a dangerous step down the wrong path. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? This delicate, almost flawless performance is happening trillions and trillions of times inside you at this very second. It's this beautiful reminder of both the amazing resilience and the profound fragility that's just woven right into the fabric of life itself.